Click the subscribe button below to receive new videos as we release them. Hit the thumbs up button so others can find our content. For more information, visit thejerusalemeassembly.org.
The Offline Experience by Ruben D. Garcia. Good morning, my beloved family and beautiful friends. Happy I am to welcome you to the much-awaited month of August 2026. As we leave in our rear-view mirror July 2026, we entertain the hope that August 2026 be a much friendlier month than what July, with its enduring emotional inconsistencies testing our understanding of what is truthful and what is not. Therefore, it is time to consider what we have gone through and what we learned since the shift, already in its 7th month of existence and continuing divine saga. First, being aware of the reality of a 5th-dimensional reality and a new earth, accompanied with concrete evidence of a completely different reality as compared with the still ongoing 3rd-dimensional reality, is incomparable to say the least. Therefore, there are two dissimilar phenomena of such proportions that are more likely to cause animosity between two individuals. To better explain this phenomenon, let me briefly describe a very realistic setting. Imagine for a minute a very simple farming family with traditional values. For generations they have been farming and living a life with prayers over meals, Sunday mornings at religious services. Get the idea? Well, in the last generation of the family members, 3, now of age of reasoning, have been taught the duties and obligations to the farm. However, lately has been a novelty rising during conversations at dinner time. It seems, one of the 3 members have insinuated that it was time to take the time to begin a discussion regarding the need to learn to read. It was customary for an elder of the family to be responsible for the duty to deal with the issues requiring reading. In simple terms, it was understood that laboring in the farm was a physical activity, not a mental activity. And this was the staple of their farming practice in existence for many generations, until today. For a while, the idea of learning to read was becoming increasingly popular, but it found no support by even close loved ones because of the restrictive time farming demanded. Still, in the mind of the wise one, in its spare time that was almost nil, it made time to pursue the efforts that he aspired. To the siblings, he was the strange with his ideas that a change was in the air, sort of speaking, and they needed to make amends and seek out alternatives to a better life. Of course, these brought a sense of separation and isolation to the one that fostered change. Finally, one Sunday dinner evening, the issue came to a family confrontation against the one auditing for a change. Insults and altercations rose, such as the vital time dedicated to specific tasks leaving little time for other tasks considered to be not useful. In short, the discussion ended in the elders proclaiming that the traditional family farming ideals will not be amended or changed. All will remain as it has been for more than 10 generations. This just being a hypothetical situation is what has happened to those individuals that were issuing warnings about beginning to consider consciousness changes and seek illuminated ideals of a higher dimensional reality. Of course, as it was in the hypothetical farming sample, those individuals making known of the vital importance in making decisive changes to an old 3rd-dimensional reality filled of hatred, fearsome realities, and much more were not given attention or consideration. And just as the proponent on our farm sample, the light worker seeking others to review their 3rd-dimensional reality, became isolated, despised, and even ousted from their emotional arena. In short, the so-called love environment became as dried as the Mojave Valley. Nurturing became absent from daily lives. It was replaced by silence, indifferences, and even a rude monastery atmosphere that made it known to the one who sought changes, an outcast in a 3rd-dimensional reality from which they opposed to be part of it. The treatment has been brutal to say the least. However, it was and it is necessary to understand the significant differences between a fearful-driven 3rd-dimensional earth with its plagues of injustice, demagoguery, and lacking true love, versus the 5th-dimensional earth filled of a divine splendor where you can conduct spiritual conversations and be heard and answered. Something that can shake the reality of a 3rd-dimensional earth fanatic still devoted to its own fearful existence. Yes, the 5th-dimensional shift is real and it is still made available to those that want to seek it out. But, it will not be an easy task. To begin you must have first to devote yourself to make changes that presently constrain your life, such as greed, envy, jealousy, etc. In other words, your negativity. And resolve to begin to live a life of intimate peace and harmony toward others. And that is just the beginning, for ahead remains the most arduous of the journey, conscience transformation, in which it will require genuine spirituality and devotion. Still, as hard and demanding as it is to achieve entering into the fifth dimensional earth, I can assure you, it is all worth it. What awaits you, it may seem inconceivable to you, but it is very, very real. I live on it and I will not give it up. It is phenomenal in what you experience being in the fifth dimensional earth and still observe all that takes place on a below, third dimensional earth. It is as watching a parade from a fifth level balcony, whereas the ones at street level are not seeing the whole world as you see it. And that is just for beginners, because there is much more in spirituality existence on a daily basis. There you have it. Yes, ascending means you would lose the things and those that do not vibrate at the frequencies you now uphold. It may hurt you seeing them moving by the side by their choice, but you must remain strong and dedicated. In short, you may walk all along without them, but along you will make new acquaintances that vibrates at your existing fifth dimensional journey. Call it an offline experience. I encourage all of you to begin to live a daily life in the now. And so it is, my beloved people.